Hey, want to participate in my research study? Sure, what do I have to do? I'm looking for gold medalist Olympic swimmers. Oh, I'm only a silver medalist.
Loser.
Sorry, you don't qualify for this study. How do you find participants for your research study? So you've defined your objectives, done the planning, selected your methods, you even know who you want to talk to. But eventually, you'll want to find these participants. So today, let's talk about how and where to find participants for your study. I'm also going to go over a template of the exact words you can use to send people so that number one, you can invite people to your study, and also number two, not give away too much of what your study is about. This video will be relevant for our upcoming step-by-step UX portfolio series. I haven't forgotten about it, because you'll need to recruit your own participants. So consider this video a quick crash course before you get the real thing. You can either ask people to help you find participants, or you could do it yourself. So here are 9 different ways for finding participants for your studies. Number 1, you can use user panels, such as UserZoom, user testing, Validately. These are great if you're doing online studies because they have integrated user panels that you can screen for. Respondent.io, user interviews, Focus Point Global. So these are agencies that can help you recruit participants for your studies. Number 2, Amazon's Mechanical Turk. This is good if you have some really quick tasks or surveys for your participants to do, and it's relatively cheap. Number 3, go where your target audience goes. For example, Reddit, forums, blogs, Facebook groups, wherever your target audience hangs out, go there. However, be mindful of soliciting participation in general. You're going to want your legal team's help in terms of wording and branding, and you want to make sure that you have the website's moderator's approval and see if it's okay. Here's an example from my own experience. When I was working for a gaming company, I needed to recruit game developers for our studies. Now, we could theoretically just go to another gaming company and ask their game developers, but that's competition and also business to business or B2B research, which requires a lot more hurdles and legal implications. So we didn't really need those developers. But how do you find, independent ones? The participant recruiter I was working with was luckily very well versed in the gaming world, and we came up with 2 ideas. First was to go to Discord. Discord is a community for gamers, and there are different channels for game developers. So in that instance, I asked the moderators of the specific channels, and I told them, hey, I'm from this company, I'm doing this kind of research. Is it okay if I post it to your channel to ask for participation? So I made sure I got their approval from them first. After they said okay, I came up with a message that says, hey, we're doing studies. If you're interested, fill in this form. The second way we used to find participants was to go to an indie game developer website where game developers would post up their games that they've created, and then we reached out to them that way. Pretty sweet, right? Fourth way would be some classifieds, like Craigslist. You can post your study on there with a screener and ask people to join your studies. Number 5, old school flyers. Similar to classifieds, but you're actually putting physical flyers up on bulletin boards. When I was in a psychology lab, I would go out and staple flyers to telephone poles. I would go to Starbucks, I would post them on their bulletin boards. I would go to clinics, ask them if it was okay to post it up. So I would just go everywhere and post these flyers up. Number 6, your internal recruiting team, account managers, or customer support. If you're working in a company, these folks can help you. These folks are on the ground with the clients and your customers every day, so they know what kind of problems people are facing. The ones who are very vocal might be willing to help, but keep in mind that there might be inherent bias with these folks because they're already very vocal. So they either really love your product or really hate it. So keep that in mind. Number 7, third-party vendors. This is basically hiring people to help you find participants. And sometimes they might even have their own database of users. 8, a research sign-up form. One way you can use this is if you have a website, you can have an extra tab about research, saying, hey, we do research. If you're interested in research studies, just fill in this form. Alternatively, you could just blast out a generic screener and just ask people if they're interested. This way, you have a list of people who is interested in research. Maybe not everyone might qualify for this study, but they might qualify for future studies. So you have them on tap. And last but not least, number 9, which is guerrilla testing or live intercepts. You can always do what I did in the past, which is set up shop at some coffee shop or a mall and have people come to you, or you intercept people. The downside of this is that you can't screen for people up front, which may lead to awkward conversations like the intro skit. Once you have participants interested, take advantage of it. Ask them to refer friends, start documenting, start building your own pool of participants up so you can tap into them later. So that's 9 ways you can find participants. But what exactly do you say in an email if you were to send them one? Let's go through an example blurb. I like to start off with a greeting, like human beings do. Then how we found you, if it's applicable. Talk about who you are in a quick sentence, what we're doing, list of study details, for example, like what you get for helping us, how long it's going to be, and how we're going to conduct it, either in person or through a video call or a phone call. And then you want to include a screener to make sure they're eligible. And finally, you want to include some form of opt-out. So if they don't want to receive your emails in the future, make sure they have an option to do that. All right, so let's go through an example of an email you can send people without saying too much about your study. You can be very generic. So you can say, hello, I'm Kevin from ABC Company. Mary connected me with you because of this reason. Sounds like you'd be the perfect person to speak with because we're building some cool new things that will help you with your everyday work. We wanted your feedback to help us shape the future of the product to make things better for you. If you're interested, it'll be an hour video call. You'll receive $100 as a token of our appreciation. So very generic. It doesn't say anything about the study, but it'll tell them like what you're doing. So that's pretty much it. If you want to read more, I'll include some articles and links for your reference. If you found this video helpful, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Remember to stay tuned for our step-by-step series, which is coming out soon, I promise. I make all things UX research related to help you become the most badass UX leader. Mad love. Peace!